some progress going on. Let's see. Okay, good. I think we're live stream now. All right, thanks. So welcome everyone to join today's demo day. This is the second demo day of our season 3. Today's agenda will be first, I will give a brief introduction about what is Frontier Guild and where are we today. Plus, all the external judges will give an introduction about themselves. Right after that, we will kick off with the presentations of each team's project, and each team have 10 minutes to present their project, followed by a Q&A session. And let me first start. Yeah, and welcome David, Figo, and Ben to joining us. Let me first share my screen and then give the general public the context about what is Superfluid and what is Frontier Guild and where are we today. Can everybody see my screen? Yep. Okay, cool. So what is Frontier Guild? Frontier Guild is our builder program. Builder program to boost ecosystem growth and to have enhance the community, developer community. And it's not a hackathon, it's a community of hackers. Its elite hackers will work closely with the Superfluid core team and work on high impact ecosystem projects. The teams will be rewarded with continuous funding. Every 2 weeks, there's a demo day to showcase their progress, and their funding flow rate will be adjusted based on judges' votes in each demo day. All right, that's a brief introduction. Now let's see our voting tool today. So we have, let me put it smaller. So everybody can see this is our internal voting tool, and each judge have 100 units to vote on 4 different projects out of these 6 presentations, 6 projects, which is going to be presented today. And you can allocate the 100 units based on your preference. For example, you can give Stream Fund 30, Astroblock 20, and you can select which ones you prefer, but you can only vote for 4. For judges who joined today for the first time, if you have questions later, we can stay on the call afterwards to give you more introduction about this tooling and answer your questions afterwards. So we can stay on the call later if you have additional questions. Right now, without further ado, let me stop here. We can have each external judge, would you please give an introduction about who you are? And so the teams are familiar also with who are you and what do you do in the industry as well? Please. Don't be shy. Who can begin?
Maybe I can
Thanks.
start.
Cool. Thanks.
So yeah, hello everyone. My name is Figo. I am from IOSG Ventures. We're a crypto VC, crypto native VC since 2017. So a little background about myself. I joined IOSG, I think, nearly 1 year ago. But then before that, believe I'm actually just a full stack engineer. Like I'm a full stack dev, joining a bunch of like ETH Global hackathons here and there. I'm pretty sure like I've also built like a few apps with Superfluid myself previously. It was one of the coolest things that I found. So yeah, I've just been doing like a bunch of freelancing work for a few private angels and a few projects on the side until eventually like I decided like, hey, I want to be an investor too. Don't get me wrong, I still love coding. But then now that's why like now at IOG Ventures, I'm currently leading our incubation program and also like our developer focus initiatives. And that's why I'm here. So really excited to look forward to seeing like what you guys built in this program, and yeah, all the best.
Thanks, Figo. Now, I think Ben is also very enthusiastic. Would you please go? Go ahead.
I'm Ben. I'm the head of product at Octant. If you don't know about Octant, we are basically building a tool that sits between refi and DeFi for public goods funding or community investments, whatever you want to look at it. I've been in the Web3 space since about 2016. And we are working with Superfluid on expanding the like streaming quadratic funding, public goods / community investment tools. And yeah, really excited to see you guys all present today.
Thanks for joining as well. And now your turn, David.
Hey, I'm David. I've been building my own startup in the space for a bit. We're sort of in a pivot, so I don't have too much to share, but we have been building in like the Farcaster ecosystem, and we built some open source tooling like Frames.js and a couple other things. So yeah, happy to also, if any builders have any questions or anything, my DMs are open.
Cool, thanks. Pivot is essential when you want to capture the market at a good timing. So yeah, that's why, as Lee said, keen to hear more about the pivot. All right. Then now let's kick off with the team's presentation. Today we have introduced a little bit parameter is a timer. So each team have 10 minutes. When I start the timer, you will see on your top right corner the timer. And when you're sharing the screen, you can see the timer below the bar on the under the sharing screen. So teams, you can know how many time do you left. All right, clear? So who want to volunteer here? Be brave here for the first one. Oh, I would name dropping.
I think I can go. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I was going to mention you as well. So it's good timing. Drew, stage is
Yeah.
yours, and I will start the timer.
Thank you. Let's go. My screen is visible to everyone. Cool.
Yes. it's
Okay, let's talk about Pipegate. So the idea is, what if every API call could pay for itself? And let's first look at the problem here. So as you have new judges, I will explain the problem quickly. So there are a few things here. The API monetization system is broken, and there are a few problems. The first one, for a API user, so me as a developer, I use a lot of APIs in my day-to-day work, and I have to get API keys, go to the platform of the providers. So in this case, it could be OpenAI, AWS. I have to maintain a bunch of API keys, and it's just not a good experience for me. And on top of that, I cannot pay using crypto for these API key services I'm using. For API providers, they have to pay 3-4% payment gateway fees to Stripe and other providers just to receive payment, and which they could save by using stable coins. And they also have to manage a custom backend database. And if they are a big provider, there are security risks involved if you are implementing your own custom authentication service. And along with that, they have to host a front end for the API keys and all. So there is a solution here, which was to use stablecoin based crypto payment rails as well as wallet keys. So I'll explain what's going on. Here, there are no API keys. Your wallet key, your wallet is kind of the identifier for you, acting as the kind of a verification mechanism over the API calls. And we have blockchain as you can say, a verifiable source of truth that you are a paying customer to the provider. And so it's like instant monetization, and there are a bunch of methods here. The first one being using Superfluid streams. So that can be a pay-as-you-go model. You are streaming stable coins in real time, and then you get the access to the particular API service you are trying to get. There is also on-demand service model, where you want to access, let's say, a resource, one-time resource, so you pay for it one time. So that's also included here. And another one could be a credit-based model, where you buy some credits before by depositing some money in a payment channel contract, and just keep using that further and further. And the good part is that it's just using my wallet key, so I don't have to manage API keys. The providers, they don't have to pay any fees. They can just simply use this middleware which I created to complete the whole authentication, and they don't need to manage any database or anything like that. And it's also self onboarding. So there are API services which don't have a front end necessarily. So there are these marketplaces where these people go to get the access. In this case, because it's on blockchain, you can just simply start a stream, and that should just do the purpose. Okay, so let's quickly get like a bit of idea around what's happening in the terms of architecture and how it's possible in the backend. So this is a short architecture. Um, so like we have a developer here who has a wallet, obviously, and then there's a provider. Uh, the developer can start a streaming to the provider, in this case, directly in any stable coins they choose. I am doing it in USDC. Uh, and then after that, the developer just have to add a, you can say, a client SDK, which is like an interceptor to start adding signatures using your wallet key. And this is how the server can now receive this signature over the header in the API call. And there's a middleware there on the server side to verify the signature and verify the other information from blockchain. So in this case, it would be verifying that the particular user has an active flow to the provider. So that's kind of the flow on what's happening here. There is a kind of bit expansion here on how it could be done better. And I will explain it once we have like a bit of demo to give you more context on what optimizations were done to improve what parts. I think that's so. I think we can quickly start with like a actual demo. And so this is like a API provider. In this case, I have set up a server and I have set up a client, and this is a server side address, the provider address. So I can simply start a stream uh, by going to the Superfluid interface, or I could have chosen to just simply use tools like cast from my command line to start a stream. In this case, I'm just using a Superfluid interface, but that can be improved. So just simply confirm, and the transaction is done. Now, so this is my like the server side and the client side. So this is the server side server where we're just running the server. It should just take a second. Yeah. Oh, wait. There is a small error here. Let me just check. Sorry. And so this should be. So let me just quickly show it from the documentation I've created. So this is the documentation where you set up a like a small streamlet middleware layer that's kind of configuring the whole middleware. Like it's configuring that what token you want to receive, how much flow rate it should be, and a small RPC, whichever chain like you support. And for the client side, they just simply have to add the interceptor, as I mentioned, and that's it. That's just simply start authenticating each of them. And so uh, I think there is a small error here. I can resolve it after the call. But just to give a bit of context, it will just simply start authenticating by checking the flow on chain. So after the last demo day, I did a benchmarking here, because one of the biggest concern is that what's the latency in the terms of authentication. And so if you do a one RPC call on chain to check for the flow rate, it has a latency of about 300 to 900 milliseconds, which is not the ideal case. You would want to reduce it to about 50 milliseconds. And if you compare it to other authentication methods like Stripe and what traditional authentication methods are, they are around the similar range, around the range of 100 milliseconds to 150 milliseconds. And so with this architecture, which I created, what it does, it basically like maintains an in-memory cache. Whenever the first call is made, it will verify from on-chain and add the address in the cache. And now for every further call, it will just look at the cache to verify the user. And to add on top, there's a listener which is listening to on-chain events and looking if the user has modified their flow or not. So if they modified their flow, it will invalidate their records, and they can just simply like they will not be allowed the access again. And in this case, the latency is like 40 milliseconds. I have a small like test I ran earlier. So this is a test which I was running earlier. I can just show that. So this is the client side environment where I started a test. It will start with adding a signature to the header, and then the request is sent here. So you can see that the request was received and the signature was extracted from the headers. it recovered the address, it checked for the flow rate on chip, and it says it was verified. And so the latency here was 631 milliseconds. But if it if it were able to add, so I have a yeah. So here you can see like once the first call was made, every further call was like about 50 milliseconds of latency, and that's it's really good in terms of comparing to traditional methods on what we have had so far, and I think that is a win-win for everyone. So now what's next for this? Uh, in terms of there are a few next steps I'm kind of working on to make it more prod safe and be usable by big organizations. One of them being like you wouldn't want your API key, your wallet key to be leaked. And if it gets leaked, you will lose access to all of the servers which you have. So like if you have 10 servers, you will lose all of the access. And so I'm trying to work on a scoped key where you could assign security parameters to your keys to define like which key should be able to authenticate to which particular server, and that will be handled internally. So for user, the experience is still the same, but we can use cryptography here to use the derivation and scoping, and that's how we can achieve that. Uh, a small sneak peek into the front end I'm creating. So this is like a small marketplace, you could say, where the API providers can just simply list themselves, and the people can come to this website to subscribe to the user, to the provider by checking out their endpoints and the kind of payment method they support, along with the pricing. And yeah, this is something I'm working on right now. It will be done until the next demo day we have. And yeah, that's the demo. Open to your questions. Thank you for your time.
Thanks, Dhruv. You know, each time when you are demoing, there's some error sometimes, so it happens.
Yeah.
In the last demo day, it works smoothly. So I end this. Okay. So there's some music also. And you did it on time. Congratulations. So what actually Dhruv did improve in these 2 weeks is he actually improved the latency issue, because if you query the RPC result and see if the user has flow rates each time, in the beginning it costs like 500 milliseconds. That's too much compared to the traditional benchmark for the Web2 type of payments. And now with his middleware and a cache solution, he's able to solve this problem and increase, and now it's 50 millisecond latency. So just for everybody to know about that. And he's creating also a marketplace for the APIs. So I don't want to know, judges, what do you think about this product? Do you have any questions or also regarding this product? Do you think there will be a market? In general, yeah, any questions are welcome here.
I have a question. Did you work on the latency stuff because users were saying that that was the main problem with what you're building, or curious how you decided to work on that?
Yeah, so I had a chat with a few of my friends, few of my developer friends, and like some researchers at like even Wallet Connect. So they mentioned that this is one of the biggest issues here, that the latency would be really high and we would want it to be so low. And that's why I focused on improving the latency issues and also benchmarking the current results we had.
So the first problem he's solving is like each time your APIs have different payments channels and with different, settings, formats, how you can pay and then get API access. With Drov's solution is you can just use your private key to have the authentication and access to any APIs once you have a stream open. That's the main problem he's solving. And the latency is more improves the performance here. Any other questions?
Yeah, I guess I'm just curious to know like what's the flow like? For example, like I'm an API provider and I want to be onboarded to your platform. Like how difficult or easy it is for me to get onboarded. Like what do I need to set up and how's the process like?
Yeah. So normally you would not need to come to the front-end platform. You can just simply start sharing your wallet address to all your users. And you simply need to set up a middleware. So like how normally we have CORS middleware, authentication middlewares, you just simply download the Rust SDK, install the SDK, and just simply add the middleware. That's it. No, and people can start sending you API calls as long as they have your address, the wallet address, and that should do it.
Understood. I see. Thank you.
Yeah, as simple as that. They stream to your wallet, and as long as the stream is open, they have authentication and they get access to your API service.
Drew, how are you thinking of discovery? Like how, let's say David makes makes an API and I want to use it. How do I find out about it?
Yeah, that's why the marketplace, or you can say the explore API section I'm creating on my platform. That's where they can list themselves, and just people can know that there is a new API and this is the information, how can they access it, things like that.
Got it. I mean, you could imagine in the future this all becoming something that you can access from the command line, right? So
Yeah.
you could have like David could have just some sort of markdown file in their repo that would have all the necessary information, right? Because
Yeah,
it's
that
just
would
an
be-
address and price, basically. Yeah.
Just to add here, like I also have like added a doc where I added a command using cast, which just simply starts a stream for you. So it's like just simply one single line command, and that should just simply start a stream. You don't need to go to any platform to start a stream and get onboarded.
Cool, thanks. Any additional questions? All good? Yeah,
So
and
one day my cursor agent is just gonna subscribe to new APIs in the process of building my app directly inside cursor, right? That's gonna be pretty wild.
Yeah, I have had a bunch of examples in the repo. So like there is an example around Cloudflare. Like Cloudflare has this something called durable object where you can create AI agents. And so it's kind of compatible with Cloudflare. Like you can use this to get your Cloudflare agent. And there's also example with AWS S3 router. So I mean, I'm trying to add examples and use cases which you can see and learn from.
cool, thanks. And for judges, if you see any industry leaders in the market who might be interested in using this type of products, you can drop in the comment. And now we are moving on to the second project. Which one want to volunteer here? Fund managers, AI agent. Mark, you don't want to go second? Challenge? Okay.
Yeah, we can go second. That's fine. I'll take the front end, and Mark will take the latter half, or probably hopefully more than half. All right. You're gonna start the timer before I even share the screen. That's rough. All right. Here we go.
You have 10 more
Let's
seconds.
see.
Don't worry.
Cool. Gotta find that. Here we go. All right. Trying to find my slideshow. Can you guys see the slideshow or not yet?
Yeah. Not
Not
yet.
yet. All right. Let's try one more time. If not, then we'll just do the in-browser version, which is fine. All right, let's just roll with this. Here we go. I'll roll with this and I'll make it bigger.
10 minutes right now. Cool.
Yeah, cool. All right, great. So we're making Stream.fun, which is a super token launcher. It is myself, Zenny.Ethon, Farcaster, and Mark Carey. I'm doing a lot of the front end, and Mark is doing Web3 and a lot of other stuff. We'll both probably be collaborating on the AI part of this. The agenda today, I'd like to give a little bit of an overview of what we're doing, give an update on some progress, and then give a lot of time for Mark to do a more technical deep dive, and then give you guys some time to ask questions as well. Ideally, you walk away thinking, wow, this is an ambitious, meaningful project, and they accomplished a lot in the last couple of weeks. So I'm hoping that's what you walk away with. We will see. To give an overview, token launchers are all the rage, but when the only thing you can do with the token is sell it, you see a lot of this graph. That's a problem. We want to fix that. So we're doing a way to launch native super tokens with Superfluid tech and add the ability to stake the tokens you buy in exchange for rewards that are streamed to your wallet every second via Superfluid. Why staking? Well, it's fun. Staking for rewards adds another layer to the game of buying tokens and searching for good deals and things like that. There's less sell pressure because people are able to do something else with the tokens other than sell them. It encourages big buys because you want a significant portion of that Superfluid streaming pool from the beginning. And it aligns holder and launcher incentives, which is a really big part, right? You want people to buy the token and ideally hold on to it so that you can get into a better liquidity state where the token's more mature and big buys and big sells don't affect it as much. And finally, staking is legible, right? It's a relatively common mechanism in the Web3 space where there's lots of new things happening all the time, but convincing people to stake some tokens and get rewards because of that is a relatively easy ask as far as things go. They understand it, and when they see money come into their wallet, I think they'll get it. So as far as progress goes from last time of day we presented the idea and walked you through some of the tech. Since then, we did lots of great work. Mark in particular had the first successful testnet tokens deployed. You can see the little transaction down there on the bottom right in the screenshot. We also have a live API with some sample data at api.stream.fun/API/tokens. And we have a live front end at stream.fun with some sample data pulled from the live API and also with functional swaps via 0x. So just to show the front end real quick, there we go. Yeah, this is the front end that we have right now. Ape stake earn, and a lot of this is mock data and things like that. But excited to see what comes of it as we go on. Thinking as we have new tokens and buys and sells like that, a little bit more animation, a little bit more fun down here. But the standard sorting, the standard searching, and stuff like that. And then I like tables because they help me search for data more easily. So I think we'll have a table feature as well. And I'll add some buttons to the right eventually too. If you click on one of the tokens, I think we'll start with this kind of like simple CoinGecko terminal integration rather than building something custom here. And then this buy, sell, the swap stuff is already working. So you can actually buy. This is not one of our launch tokens. It's just a demo. But if you wanted to buy 0.1 ETH of this, you can. And then we have Privy, which is handling auth and stuff like that. That's also set up and that's also working. So this is the front end side of things, and I'm going to pass it over to Mark to walk you through the other stuff in just a moment. But yeah, next up, we have our work cut out for us. We have a lot of stuff we want to do, and relatively quickly, we want to finalize the V1 tokenomics, which Mark can walk you through. We're going to do an AI deployer on Farcaster, probably a V2 frame for swaps and staking, so it can all be done within that UI there. Got to get the front end with live data, staking functionality built in, and then perhaps a V1 launch coming up very soon. All right, Mark, over to you.
All right, so I can share quickly, and okay, where are we here? Okay, so just to talk a bit about the technical stuff, as Lee said, progress on the smart contracts front. As a quick overview of the technical side, I won't spend too much time here as we talked about it last week. It's a token launcher that launches native super tokens, and the key thing here is that these have streaming built in. You don't need to unwrap them as you would with a regular ERC20 token, so it saves a lot of time. It makes for a better UI. We're going to use an AI agent as the launcher here. It's going to have single-sided liquidity provision. This is similar to the way Clanker is doing things, inspired by and use some of the Clanker open source code there. New for Stream is the staking module that Lee talked about. An update since last week, the staking module, we now have a staking factory that will deploy these, as well as we have an option for a hold period, a minimum hold period when you stake. As a team, we can turn that on or off and determine how long that would be. So we have to make that decision, but it's now supported as a means to get people to potentially hold if they're going to earn staking rewards for a minimum period of time. We're thinking of a protocol token that has not been coded. One idea is that it'll potentially initially it'll be gated by social cred who can deploy tokens as others are. But one idea with a protocol token is if you don't have the social cred or the reputation score, then if you're holding the protocol token a certain amount, then perhaps you can play anyways. So that's an idea that hasn't been implemented. So this is the interface is we're going to lean into the AI as the interface and the social feed. Okay, there's been some small changes with the smart contracts now that they're actually coded. So there's sort of the idea is that the main stream contract steps through 4 modules, up to 4. 2 of them are required. So the first is the token deployment factory. Currently, we're launching with the super token deployment factory, but it actually supports the idea of multiple token factories that could be registered if sort of vetted by the team. The next is sort of a post-token deploy hook, and we're launching with the staking factory as that hook. That actually creates 2 tokens. It creates the staking contract, the staking token, and a Superfluid pool that manages the streaming rewards. The third is the LP, which is a required module for each deployment, and again that's Uniswap v3 pool that we're deploying at this point, similar to the way Clanker does things. Finally, the fourth one is sort of a post LP hook. We are not launching one of these as the first version, but the idea here is that you could register a hook that does something after the liquidity has been provisioned, such as an initial buy against the pool or something like that, or anything else that makes sense at that point. We're currently running it right now with no hook there, so nothing happens at that step. So how are we doing for time? Here's the new diagram. It's basically just what I described. So there's the notion here of LP. There's an LP locker, and the locker is a contract that basically holds all of the LP positions. It's also the main entry point for collection of fees. Similar to the way Clanker works, there's sort of a breakdown between fees, a percentage that goes to the protocol and a percentage that goes to the requester of the token. So that works in a similar way. And the LP locker is sort of the place where that stuff happens. So this is staking. We won't do this week. Last week we showed a staking module demo of the Wolf staking, which is very similar but a little bit different now that we've modified the staking contract, where it would sort of show the APR. The key thing here is that the staking rewards are sent in a constant rate to the pool. So if you're the only one in the pool, you're getting it all, right? So that's the incentive to get in early. And then as more people stake, the APR goes down and you get less of a share, but there's this incentive to be early. And we hope that, has a positive impact on price and, locking up more of the tokens, potentially less sell pressure. So we're planning to lean fairly heavily in up to maybe 20% of the maximum supply could go to that pool. And I'm kind of thinking maybe it streams for 365 days. But as Lee said, we need to figure out those tokenomics knobs and what they should be initially and decide those things. So again, the key thing that we realized that we talked about last week is that we don't want it to be just another token launcher. We need to have a differentiating factor, and we think the streaming of the tokens is one of those factors, and also the staking, which is also a demonstration of the streaming, because you get streaming rewards. It shows that superpower that these tokens have compared to regular tokens. And it also adds another element to the game, and we think could make it interesting for those who want to participate in deploying and trading stream coins. So that is. Do I have time to show anything else? Are we done?
Maybe have 10 seconds more if you want. You're over 1 minute already.
Okay, maybe that's good. I mean, I was going to show that one that transaction we did. It's a big transaction that it deploys 4 contracts in that transaction. It cost 8.5 million gas units to deploy the token. Seems high, but I looked at a clanker recently and it took 7.9. So we're in the ballpark of that. These are sort of big. A lot is happening. But I don't think it's unreasonable as long as people actually use it and we get some revenue to pay for that gas, because I think the clankers were costing 25 cents on base the other day. But that's essentially it. We're open to questions. We made a lot of progress. There's some more to do. Lee already outlined that, and we're going full steam ahead.
Thanks, Mark and Lee. Very cool, very cool. Ben has already raised hands. Ben, could you, go ahead with your questions?
Everyone, sorry, I turned off my camera because I've had a crazy morning and I'm just finally getting to eat something. But question, Mark. I'm not sure if I missed this, but you were speaking about social credit as the gatekeeping mechanism for who can launch tokens. And what are you using to define social credit? Like, what is the methodology behind determining that score?
Well, the default way that is similar to what Flanker uses, or at least they used initially. I don't know if they still do. Is there is what's called a Naner score. Naner is an API provider in the Farcaster ecosystem that calculates a score, and sort of minimum threshold. It's a fairly straightforward way, is to just, since we'd be using their APIs when we're capturing the user's message, we would get that score and apply that threshold. Another option that could be used in addition or instead is in the Moxie ecosystem. There is the idea of a FAR score. If we did that, we'd use what they call the organic FAR score, which relates only to sort of social actions and not your sort of not your trading activity within Moxie. So that's another similar idea. Open rank is another option as well. So we'd use those kinds of things, one or more of those, to just sort of, to gate it initially, and probably relax it. Things are going well, we will try to relax it fairly quickly. The other thing is, potentially having a certain time frame, like 1 per day, just so that people aren't just hammering it with token deployments. But again, something that we would be sort of ready to adjust in either direction as things progress. If things get crazy, or if things, if we're ready to open it up to greater volumes, then we'd tweak those settings.
Have you thought at all about using some sort of like proof of humanity tool like Holonym, or I mean, obviously Gitcoin Passport is not the best. And Gitcoin Passport is now also owned by Holonym as of today. But anything like that?
You can definitely look at those. I mean, there's another one, the Talent Protocol seems to be an interesting one as well. Maybe it's a bit more focused on builders, but we could definitely look at some of those things, especially as we sort of expand outside of, like, the Naner score works well if it's a Farcaster originated thing, and that's where we'd be starting. But if we were to sort of expand that to like Twitter or Telegram channels or something like that, we would need to we would probably just have, the wallet address to use as the basis of reputation. So some of those other options might come into play there.
Yep. Thanks. David, go ahead.
Yeah.
Question as well.
I mean, we launched a product that was tackling a similar problem. I have a question. So, the I'm curious what mechanism you think or what problem you're solving by adding staking here. Because especially if you haven't triggered the switch that like sets a period for the staking. Like I think there is a lot of opportunity in fixing mechanism design around this. I'm just not fully clear on what what you think will happen.
Well, I mean, I think there's two reasons really. One is to sort of as you're alluding to address the issue of sniping and quickly selling and dumping on people. That's part of it, especially if we turn on the hold period for the staking. And the other is a means to demonstrate the streaming nature of these tokens, because we kind of thought about it like being Superfluid developers, and we kind of just the idea of a super token launcher we think is a cool idea, but to most people it probably will just look and feel like a regular token. So we need to sort of demonstrate the streaming ability and be able to get streaming rewards and to see your rewards increase per second. That's one way to do it, and so we're hoping that the staking is able to do both. And so we were kind of thinking about it and in a chat with
Yeah,
Fran, saying that
I think there's a question as to like why hold, and a financial incentive to hold is yet another incentive. So like what this actually ends up doing, I think will depend a lot on the details as to if there's a lock period and how long it is and so on and so forth. But why hold a token when you buy it is to, in general, to hopefully earn more money, and this adds another layer to the game and perhaps makes it more interesting and more aligned for the various stakeholders.
All right. But I think you said that 20% of the supply is streamed over quite a long period, right? I'm curious, just like, are you thinking about, because almost all of the sort of mechanisms around meme coins seem to be like early buyers get a better price. And I'm just surprised that you haven't looked at like, okay, well, early buyers get a better price. Maybe the trade-off is locked tokens that then you get streaming rewards, right? So it's like, yeah, you can be super early, but you can't dump on the people 15 minutes later than you, right? Whereas like if I think if you model out what will happen with like 20% streaming rewards over a longer period, it's not going to compensate for price movements that much, right?
Yeah, well, the one thing we need to figure out is 20% the right number? And I want to do some research on, if we do the Clanker supply of 100 billion, I mean, I don't know the answer to this question, but I want to look like within like, 7 days, 24 hours, a month, how many are actually, in, what's the volume like? How many are in the actual people's hands and not sitting in the pool? So 20% can either be, and relative to that, can either be a massive amount or it can be a small amount. So, the thing is, if you're buying, you buy on Uniswap and then you stake it initially, if you're early, potentially I mean, as you said, we have to sort of simulate that, but you might end up with twice as many tokens as you purchased. And so you are getting a better price if you calculate your average price, right? The price you paid plus, all these extra tokens. So if I get, an amount of a reward equal to what I purchased, then I really paid half as much per token, right? And so that is it's hard to predict, I think, how that would affect, market behavior. I think it's fascinating, but I don't have the answers as to like, how that's going to affect snipers or would-be snipers or regular trading participants and how they will behave. But it's a good question.
Thanks.
I don't think it's necessarily going to change the behavior of snipers, because you can still like buy early and then not stake and then sell, right? But I do think if I join the platform and I see that, of the 500,000 tokens bought so far, 400,000 have been staked, then the downside is much lower, right? It means like there's fewer people who are readily going to sell, right? So that could signal to others that this is a token that's worth buying more of, right? So I think it could work a bit as a kind of a way to judge whether a token's early buyers are long-term committed or not, which is something that, is usually only the founder does, right? So you'll often see the founder of one of these meme coins say, "Oh, I bought 5 ETH and I've locked it for 3 months." But by doing it with a locked period on the staking, anybody can kind of add to that signal that they're long term. So I think that part is very interesting too.
Yeah, very cool discussion. I think that's the very it's a differentiator discussion is worth lots of time for us, but now our time is kind of limited, and we think later on, like you guys can continue the conversation after the demo day. But it's definitely a key question to the launchpad, how it's going to succeed and how does the market gonna react to it. All right. I think we can move on to the next project. Here, Nancy,
go.
you wanna go? Okay. Yeah.
Okay, hello guys. So this is Astroblock. So this is a returning project that I started building the previous season. So I guess I'll show you quickly what Astroblock is. Astroblock is a mini app on Farcaster. It was one of the first apps in using the let me show this, using the Frames v2 specification. So it's a small game where you can join a game and earn some points. Let me show you. Here we go. You can shoot objects that are customly built, earn some points, and then according to where you are in the leaderboard, you get a token stream. So here in this case, for this game room, you can see here in this info page, you can see the distribution for each position. So you can see number one gets like 500K per week, etc., etc. So I guess that's it. So I guess the main thing I was struggling here with the beginning of this season is I was kind of scaling the game horizontally by providing more and more game rooms to potential communities that want to join. But I guess it's been a bit difficult to maintain, and I'm spending a bunch of time building some infra that's not used. So now I think I've pivoted, and you'll see that I'm going to try and focus on distribution and also team play to and create more positive incentives. So this week I've tried to engage more so on socials to get some distribution going. I've casted and spent some time on Twitter as well. So this week I've got so I have a total of 1,137 users, and this week just this week alone we got 81 new users and 80 new followers on the channel. What I'll do next, I guess, is continue engaging with communities through their channels and also make better use of the notifications, which I actually have enabled, but I haven't used yet. And I've seen other mini apps on Farcaster use these, and they're really helpful. So this is how I'll increase distribution. I guess the second goal from last week also was increase usage of Astro, which is the token that we've launched last season. So because the volume right now is pretty low, all honesty, I'll hopefully next week, next demo day will have 10x this number. But this was one of the goals from last week. And so that's why I've launched the in-game shop where you can purchase some custom spaceships that you can use in the game. So I guess I'll show you right now. You can, so this is what it looks like. You can purchase with Astro. This is the first community ship, which is a degen one. And also I have a base one that is, you can purchase with just ETH. Once you have your ship, you can come in your profile, you can equip it and go to your game. Oh, that's pretty slow. Go to your game and you should have it where usable. Yes. Oops. So this is going to be part of the inventory and how also I guess I'll talk a bit about some general features also I've added. So you've seen the info screen, you've seen the inventory that you can equip items, and also I've added, this is a feature from the latest Forecaster Frames SDK where you can follow accounts straight from the frame. That's pretty cool, and it's also a good incentive to be ranked high because I guess you get more followers from being a good player. Yes, and so this is what I said earlier at the beginning is I was spending the classical spending time building infra for 0 users, but I guess I will be focusing now on instead of scaling some services, focus on distribution and daily incentives, kind of like looking at what Base Paint, which is older project is doing, or today it's a Web2 game, but Farvale is doing is try to have some incentive for players to come back every day. And I think for me, for Astroblock, I think I'll go like the team way, and that way I only have to maintain just one server and one service, and I can focus on delivering better tokenomics and incentives rather than building some gaming infra. And yeah, this is what the pivot is going to be for next week. So I guess I will show you what I've started, and this is the team leaderboard. That way I only curate one leaderboard because sending rewards also to all these game rooms is going to be difficult if I have like 10 or 20 or so having one leaderboard is going to be easier. And yeah, and so here you can see I have a toggle, and you can see which teams actually have ships, and ships is going to be the passport to I guess have rewards, get team rewards, and yeah, that's it for me. Follow Astroblock on Farcaster and on socials, and that's it. Thank you.
Oh, thanks, Neza. Any questions for Nez for the recent progress on the Astroblock? Yeah, David, please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks. I was trying the game during your presentation. Guilty. Um, it's cool. I mean, it has great design. I'm curious about the game dynamics. I'm not sure. Is it a multiplayer game? Like,
Yeah, it is.
what's the?
It is.
Because I just joined and there's no one else, and I was like, there must be more to the game dynamics that I'm not quite seeing. Like, what's the concept behind the game, I guess?
The concept was just having a game and rewarding people real time with token streams. So basically, you score some points, and the rewards are updated every 30 minutes. You can see there's a little timer every 30 minutes.
Okay.
The streams are modified, and so I guess the rewards were more, I guess, fluid and constant throughout your positioning. If you're staying first for a whole day, you get more rewards. If you're staying first for 10 minutes, an hour, you get some rewards and stuff like this. So, yeah.
Is calling it a farming game reasonable
Yeah.
then in terms of like the actual game mechanics doesn't need to be fun for the user, but it is fun because it's like you're chasing a leaderboard or a points position.
Yeah, that's what it is right now, and I think yeah, This is one of the pain points of the game right now, is there's no incentives to come back. Right now, some players have like racking up 20 million points, and they're just sitting up there and just doing just earning some tokens. But this is something that hopefully I'll work hard to pivot for next demo day.
Thanks.
Thanks. Yeah, so usually is you enter, you play by yourself, but you can also see some other types, other spaceships, but you are not competing with them. You're just, shooting as much blocks as you can. But I think Neza, this time he introduced more like if you are on the Degen team, you have the Degen ones, so that all the Degen teams can accumulate also points together as a team. So you are not playing as a team, but actually you are playing as a team as on the leaderboard. So that it kind of introduce a little bit the team aspect here. But any suggestions are open to for the tokenomics, how to increase the buy power of Astra, how to make the team sustainable, like engaging more builders and more users into the team. And I think that's lots of the different features that Neda can create in the next few weeks, but open for any suggestions here. Any other questions?
Wait, right now, so can I at least like buy in-game items using the Astra token?
Yeah, you can. Right now, there's just two ships. One is buyable. There's the base ship with the ETH, and the second, the Degen one, is buyable with Astro. And I have 20, I hand drawn 20 of them for some communities, and I'll release them like every few days. And yeah, that'll be your ticket to join a team and rewards as a team.
I see, I see. Yeah, it's pretty interesting. I've also been trying the game myself.
Cool, thanks. All right, then if no further questions, we can go. Yeah.
Oh, that's it. Thank you.
All right. Then we can go ahead with the second next project. The fourth
Okay,
one.
so maybe I can do
I
next.
think we can go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, then okay. Daifda, you can go, and then Qinghao, you can go next. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Let me share the screen.
On my side, I cannot see the screen yet.
Uh,
Oh, now I
can
can.
you not?
Yeah, now it's good. All right.
You can?
Yeah, I'll start.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so hi everyone. I'm Daitman. My teammate is Giovanni, and we're building a product called Streamline. The idea is that it's an AI agent to streamline the Superfluid protocol. To explain it a bit further, it's an AI agent that can help users understand the Superfluid protocol better. So if a person who has no knowledge of Superfluid or what it does, basically what are streams, what are is, what a CF is. This bot should be essentially able to explain them what superfluid is, and if they are a part of some pool or if they're receiving a flow rate, it should be able to explain them who that flow rate is coming from, why is that flow rate being sent to them, or if why their wallet has outgoing or incoming streams, and more on that. So it essentially simplifies their transaction stream and other superfluid related usage. And for this, we have been building with a lot of other AI infrastructure like Goat SDK, Agent Kit, and console kit, but Superfluid is at the center of all of them. In our last demo day, we presented how we managed to actually put some functions into the agent kit of Coinbase, and it was merged soon after. And for this week, we were playing around with Goat SDK, and we have opened a new PR with some new read functions that we'll be demoing today to the Goat SDK as well. So we now have at least two AI infrastructures that can essentially implement a Superfluid plugin. The roadmap, like we explained last time, has three main steps, which is first of all, the AI agent needs to have sufficiently high Superfluid protocol knowledge, which is why we're training it on all the technical docs that we have and some more blog posts that we can find about Superfluid. Secondly, it should have blockchain query capabilities. So it should be able to go and look at the actual blockchain and find out what pools a member, a user is part of, what are the streams related to that, and so on and so forth. And the third, which actually gives superpowers to the AI agent, is the subgraph queries. So there's a subgraph deployed for the Superfluid protocol that is very, very highly efficient, and it's able to service queries that is not possible through directly through APIs and other just blockchain query capabilities. And for now, we are writing our own subgraph queries, which Giovanni will be talking about later. But essentially, the AI agent should be able to create and craft its own subgraph queries to provide any query that a user might have. To give you a demo of this, I think I need to stop sharing and start. I'm not sure. Can you see my? Oh, no, it's paused. Yeah. I'll share my VS Code. Yeah, hopefully you should be able to see this. So I've already written out some queries and I'm not able to screen share my entire screen for some reason. But the idea is that we have our own Superfluid Frontier Guild pool, and I have picked up some queries like this, and I've asked the bot what is the total amount received by this address in the pool, which is this pool. And this pool is the Superfluid Frontier Guild pool that we all are a part of, and it replies that the total amount received by this address, which is Dhruv's address. So we are doing ENS resolving as well, like Fran told us to, because it makes it easier for a person to read. And it says that it's approximately 2.51 something something. But the issue is this is still not readable. So we need to actually craft some more complex queries. But if you actually go and check it out, it is about 2,500 USDC that Dhruv has already received from the pool. To make this actually better, we'll need to craft complex queries where the bot needs to first identify the super token that this pool has. Then it needs to identify how many decimals that super token has, and then it needs to format it. So we can craft these queries by ourselves, but ultimately the bot will be able to do it by itself. We can ask some other questions like how many units does this particular address have in the Superfluid Frontier pool? And we get the result 20. It should be able to format it soon. So this address, which is Nizar's address, who presented just before me, has about 20 units in this pool. And if you want to find out how many total units are actually present in this pool, I can just put this query, and it should tell me that there are about 300 total units, and people have those many queries. Now I'm using the VM client for this, and VM has its own reversing function, reversing ENS function, but it only works on mainnet. So we are currently using an API to actually resolve the reverse ENS for this. And the total disconnected pool is 0. So it means every member in the pool of Superfluid Frontier Gate is actually connected. So all of them are connected. So this is another thing that you can fetch using this AI bot. The idea is to make it simpler. So we should be able to put instead of this address, I should be able to just put like nizar.eth and how many units does that person have in the pool. But again, the forward ENS again also works only on the mainnet chain, which is on this. So we need to figure out an API structure for that as well. Ultimately, I can stop and I might need to start sharing again. The Brave browser. Yeah. So this is the pool that I was referencing for now. This is a Superfluid Frontier Tail, and all of the details are available over here. And it's essentially fetching from the CFA forwarder library or the GDA forwarder library. But this subgraph is the actual killer feature that we're trying to implement right now. And for example, I know the address of the pool, but I do not know who are the members of that pool. This is not, you cannot fetch that using a direct blockchain query. You need to have a subgraph for this. And if I run this query, I can actually get all of the addresses, the pool members of, there are like 6 pool members in this, and we can get their ETH addresses, and then we can use a reverse ENS to actually find out all of their actual ENS names. And that is ultimately what we're trying to build. I'll hand over to Giovanni now, who is trying out the Superfluid blockchain part, and he's integrated that into a Discord board. So over to you, Giovanni.
Okay, thank you, Daidba. Let me share my screen. Um, Okay, so I can start with the progress of what I have done. So this is the iteration from the last week where I built the Discord bot, but it was slow and it was too technical. So the progress that I have made for this week is the second iteration where right now the Discord bot is live, it's deployed on the server. Um, so you can try it out. Here's the QR code to join the server that I have created with the uh, Streamline agent. And what have been done differently this time is instead of using Llama index, this time I distilled the Superfluid docs into the knowledge base. And so this time it's faster and also updated the personality of the bot. So the Discord bot can be more friendly and fun with the answers. Um, I'm still working on the dynamic query, so I can't demo in this second iteration. So that is going to be on the 13th iteration. So about the future, so that's going to be on this roadmap. So for the next iteration, we have seen what Daitva have done with the Goat SDK. So in the next iteration, we are going to integrate what we have seen in the previous demo into Eliza, so we can do all those queries inside Discord, in the Discord bot. So how the architecture will look like is going to be like this one, where we have the bot that will be integrated with several plugins. For example, the first plugins is going to contain a database where we have trained our our database with embedding from super free documentation for general knowledge. And then we have uh, the the tools for calling on-chain and reading on-chain informations from super free contract, and the dynamic super graph query where we use AI to create the queries and use it to create information, and then we use AI again to format it into human readable information. I think that's it. Thank you for your attention.
Thanks. Cool. Any questions for our Streamline agent?
Yeah, I have a very quick question. So I've seen, so Deidre, you worked on the kind of like the query side on the blockchain to kind of like ask direct questions and things like that. And Giovanni, you have worked on like the knowledge base and kind of making sure that like, the agents kind of understand Superfluid. I think the most exciting part for me is actually the mixture of both, where the user does not have to understand all these things and kind of like can ask like stupid questions and the agents goes, no, 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 that's not what it is. And this is actually the information you're looking for. I assume you've worked with like different stacks. You've worked maybe Versal AI and some other, framework, and Giovanni worked with Eliza. Do you expect the merge of both to be simple, smooth? Do you expect a lot of hallucinations coming up when you try to like kind of bring, both of these like agents together? Are you thinking of like a different architecture of like multi-agents that are, I don't know, managed by like one agent on top? Have you thought about these things?
Yeah, I do have some thoughts on that. Uh, um, for we had some issues with Vasily SDK as well, but those were mainly type issues. I think we should be able to integrate with Eliza soon enough, because the Fluid agent that you have developed is already using Eliza as well. So we believe the plugin works. It's just that we have added new functions to it. What I've seen about the hallucination is that without any knowledge of super, I give it a query as to what is the total flow rate out of this pool. Because it has no knowledge of what this token is, it just says that it will try to match the best function to it, and then it will fetch the total flow rate and it say that it is in ETH, but while it is in USDC. So ultimately, we still need to give it all knowledge of Superfluid, and I think when we mix these both approaches, I think it should be able to perform a lot better.
I want to add something from my side, which is because we're integrating the knowledge base, the on-chain action, the subgraph queries, and so there are several plugins. And I think the biggest challenge here is you say that the user may make dumb questions, so they are not very clear with what they want. And see, so if they are not very explicit, I think would be challenging for Eliza to decide which action to take. I think a bottleneck may be there.
Yeah, I think that could be solved probably on the character file side, where you tell the agents not to take like very quick decisions and actually like ask more questions, follow-up questions to the user and stuff like that. I think a lot of the challenge is going if you're going to be using Eliza on the character file side, how do you set up the character file so that it actually, does what you want it to do, as opposed to sitting up like doing some other action because it's just at the end of the day it's just assigning a certain amount of like score to whatever action to use or whatever thing to use. I'm excited about that part, but I think you guys have made a lot of great progress, and yeah, congratulations on the progress you've made so far, and excited to see how it pans out when both sides kind of mix.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Thank
Yusuf.
you. I think I have one more thing to add over here. So the Versal AI SDK that I'm currently using has no memory. So each query that you ask is independent of the query that you have asked it previously. So I need to input the pool address every time. But if we have like a memory structure of sort using ELIZA, we can just tell it that this is the Superfluid Frontier Guild pool address. Now remember it, and now tell me what's gonna happen next. I think that's one that would make this a lot better as well.
Yep, makes sense. Sure. I mean, create an agent is not that easy as you think, actually. Make it really work and have have very fast answers to correct and have correct answers also. So I think you guys have made good progress, and we are looking forward to see the next version, which is smarter. All right. Now let's move forward for the next project. Qinghao.
Yeah, I can. Okay.
Oh, yeah, sorry, because Qinghao was raising hands before, so I think Qinghao, you can go.
Okay. Let me share my screen. And let's go through our slides quickly to get context. So our project is called DeepFlow, and basically it's a system that can automatically tracing all the open source activities and trying to analyze the dependency graph and the contribution weight, and trying to use this data to reward the contributors in seconds. Okay, so and first thing, why we are doing this? Because open source is cool, and from our side, we think open source is more like a network. Actually, every project you build, you not build it by your own self. You also rely on some other dependencies, and many of the infrastructure dependency are open source, and they are saving your time. You don't need to do the same thing again and again. And if you do some cool stuff, you can also share it with other less through GitHub. So it's a network, and it's super cool. And why we want to do the incentive, because some of the contributors, especially if they are doing some infrastructure stuff, many people rely on them, but they are not. They might be struggling in the real life. So it's happening a lot, and so many people are starting to care about that and do some incentives. And the thing is that maybe we can always do it in better, and we think we can do it smarter and deeper and in real time through our platform. And so let me show what we did. Okay, so this is our platform looks like. The first page is quite straightforward. It's just we fetch some data from GitHub and do some ranking, and you can get some insight. And in the future, we'll add more analyze and like leaderboard to get you more insight. And the really cool thing is that we do the dependency analysis. Currently, it only supports JavaScript because we did is we really let the browser to run the npm install and to fetch all the JavaScript package, and they can get the dependency. And since most of the JavaScript package are actually open source, so we can fetch the data from GitHub, so we'll know who contributes to this project. And to make it more make sense, we make the line weight different based on the contribution, based on the contributors' impact in this ecosystem. And to make it clear, you can hide the contributors to see it's just some dependency. And we can fetch all the contributors to the dependencies project, and it will look like this this graph. And to show you a more complex one, like the Superfluid widget, you can see it's the level is more deeper. And so now we have this data, and we not only get dependency and also get the contributor weight, we can do the incentive stuff. And so first thing what we do is to create a pool. And yeah, I will explain the technique detail different, but basically we will create a pool for each repo, and if you have the pool, it will connect to different contributors, and then you can start stream. And MTK is just some random token I made. Sorry. Yeah. And so that's all set. And how can you check the flow? First, you can check it on the Superfluid Explorer. And this pool is actually the UI test SDK, which is written by me and a partner. And so you can see there are two pool members, and I already connected. I will show how do I connect it. And there will be units. And why this unit is like this, because the contribution is just like this. I do less contributor than Eric. Yeah. So basically we computed this by the weight. And so in our platform, how do we claim it? What one feature we done really cool is that we do not need to because when people trying to do some incentive, usually they need to get the user's wallet address, but if they are not know this platform yet, you will never have chance to get to know their wallet address. So what we really want to do is we want to flow to some GitHub account, and this part is what we take most of our time to figure it out in the last 2 weeks. And yeah, I have a graph to show you how it works. But basically, first thing you come in is like you need to log in with GitHub, so we'll know that you are the one, you are the valid GitHub user developer, and then you need to bind your wallet to the receiver contract, and I'll explain what receiver contract is. And after that, you will see the repos you contributed to, because this data is real, so I only import one JavaScript repo in this system, so I only contribute to this. And actually I can connect to this repo is actually related to a pool. Every repo is connected, is related with that pool, and so I need to connect it. It should be changed, but I didn't do the status yet. But after you do that, in this you can see it's connected, and you can claim the streams. Yeah, and you can see the transaction here. You really get some stream, some rewards that's sent to the receiver contract. And then let me explain a little bit about how we make this work, especially to the we can stream to any account, and we're 100% sure this is not only useful for our platform. And we do a simple change. We can support Twitter and Discord and other systems. Now you can stream to anyone, any Web2 account. So the thing basically these two parts is about how to create pool and do the stream donation. And there is a 2.5 step should be you need to use GitHub OAuth to log in. So our server will know you're a valid developer. And then you do the band wallet. And band wallet actually is we will need to check your token signed by GitHub service. And if you're valid, we can set the receiver address to another contract. We call it receiver contract. And yeah, and our server is only one who can change that. It's a little bit centralized, but using some cryptography method, it can be done in a decentralized way. And if we have time, we'll change it. Yeah, and after that, you can claim the user can claim the stream from the contract because we already register the wallet address. Yeah, based on we know their GitHub OAuth check, and so the whole architecture looks like this. We'll create a repo, a pool for each repo, and we'll also create a contract to receive the stream because that time we don't know contributors' wallets, but we still need to send some stream based on their contribution. So we'll create a receiver contract for each contributors, and the pool just send stream to this contract. And after that, yeah, we have our own service, and the developer wallet can register their real receiver address to this contract, and all the weight stuff and analyze results we fetch from our another backend service called analyze service, and so we can make it smarter and deeper and in seconds. So basically, that's what we did, and we're already trying to separate the stream to any account as a separate product, and anyone interested to use it, you can connect with me. Yeah, and the last thing is the roadmap, and yeah, we want to support more language, and we want to do the currently we only do one level incentive, but we will finish the multi-level incentive in next 2 weeks, and yeah, and we want to import some fancy technology to make the contribution smarter, evaluation smarter. And one last thing I forgot to show, we also use the sorry, wait a moment. Yeah, we will use some DeepSeek to analyze the project and yeah, to give us some insight. Okay, so that's all.
Cool. Thanks. Thanks, Chenghao. Any questions from the judges for the open source incentive program that Chenghao did with one level of distribution, and also any users can come and claim the streams with their just GitHub account login?
Yeah, I'm actually curious. I think this is a really interesting idea. But then I'm like you also mentioned, like I guess like one problem is like, for example, like some people contributed to a package or a library, for example, but then it's not necessarily equal contributions. That, for example, like let's say like there's an open source project and we have like thousands of people contributing, but then like one person maybe wrote like 80% of the code, meanwhile like some other people only like updated like a typo, for example.
Yeah.
So I know you mentioned like you're working on this, but then I just wanted to pick your brain. Like, what are some like ideas you have that you think is worth giving a shot to fix this problem?
Yeah, so currently what we do is we just evaluate the commits history and accumulate them by number. And we think there are already some open source projects are doing some evaluation, like they are evaluating the impact of the developers based on all the code they write. There's several different models, but I didn't heard one model is doing it really well, but yeah, the next step, we just want to follow some open source work and import it to evaluate our weight better. And the final step is we need to do some deeper research. And yeah, one of my ideas is like to maybe we can use some a large language model to evaluate each commits and trying to get a weight and sum them. And for the typo, because in our platform currently each project will only like send stream to 10 at most 10 developers, because after the 10 they really just fix some typo, and yeah, even you give them stream, it will be very little. So yeah, we just ignore them. Okay, so that's the thing we are going to do.
I see. Yeah, I think that's worth giving a shot. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Nice. Yeah. And Mark said there are some who are just commit farmers. So it's very useful if you can have the impact correctly, evaluate the impact correctly of each contributor and reward them accordingly. Any other questions from the judges? No more? All right. Then we're gonna move on to the next project.
Yep. Please let me know if you can see my screen.
Yes, we can see it.
Perfect. So my name is Shreyas. With me is Ifran. We are working on Fluid funds. So essentially the idea of Fluid fund is that you know somebody who is good at trading, or online you see a lot of people who are really good in trading these meme coins or any other coins, make a lot of profit. Here, the guy who is really good or wants to start a fund can come to Fluid fund and create a fund. And after he has created the fund, people can subscribe to it via Superfluid streams. So people come to this fund, create a stream of USDC to the fund, and then the fund manager is the one who trades and makes a profit. The profits are then distributed to the users who have subscribed to it. Essentially, how it works is that fund manager starts a fund. So the people who want to subscribe, they subscribe to the fund, and the fund manager trades on Uniswap and or any other dexes that we give them to trade, and you can monitor their trade and performance real time. So let me just show you the progress that we have made. This is a site which is fluidfunds.xyz. The landing page to show very high level on how it works. And these are some test funds that we have created on chain. Here you can connect, and as a fund manager, let's say I want to start a fund, I'll just connect my wallet. I think it's already connected. Okay, this is already connected, and now I can create a fund from here. So I have pre-filled this, the fund. So this is the profit sharing part, where if there is a profit for a fund, the 15% of which will go to the fund manager at the end of the subscription or the fund period. So let's create a fund. We're storing the data in the IPFS and then passing it to the contract. So confirm. Okay. Okay, so we have now created our fund contract. Okay, so if you reload here, you'll be able to see the fund which is created. Okay, for some reason, I think the graph is still not updated. Let's see, go back. Okay, yeah, so this is the fund that I just created from my account, and people now subscribe to it. So now to subscribe to it, you can go as a fund investor and create a stream for that fund. So if I go, I'll just subscribe to a random fund here with 100 USDC and create a stream. So this essentially is creating just 100 USDC per month stream to this fund contract. which is a super contract. Okay, the flow is now created and you will be able to see the stream here. But I think our last build messed up things here. Just do it on the backup. Okay, so you can see the stream which I'm getting back from the fund contract is the TFT token that we created for the fund, which is giving back the fund token. And this is where we are calculating how much the user has contributed to for the fund. And when the fund ends, we will be calculating how much we owe the user, the amount of tokens the user is owed. Yeah, essentially that's it. The next steps for this is to create a dashboard where the fund manager can essentially trade on Uniswap. Yesterday we completed our contracts part. We integrated Uniswap and deployed it on the base testnet, which is base Apolia. So I think by the next demo day we'll have a dashboard with the trading features as well. Yeah, I mean, that's it from my side.
Well, thanks. Any questions for the fund manager or the idea itself that's general to have like different leaderboards for different funds and trade on the platform more transparently so all users can see which kind of token the fund manager is buying, and then you can subscribe to different fund managers. Yeah, Ben, please go ahead.
Have you thought about autopilot style tool like subscription where you don't necessarily pay into someone's fund, but you can pay them a bit to copy and then tweak it yourself after?
Sorry, I didn't get that question. Tweak the. Yeah.
So do you know what autopilot is?
The term autopilot or project autopilot? Sorry.
It's not a Web3 project. It is effectively a portfolio, like a copy trader, a Web2 copy trader, designed so that you can follow people, primarily politicians, who are making potentially shady trades and follow their trades and make the same trades as them. And one of the things I think they enable you to do is to basically subscribe to people where you can pay autopilot a small fee to get these updates, and then you can kind of tweak the trades that you want. And it seems like what you're building is a little bit more of a like fund management version of that for people participating in DeFi. And I was wondering if you thought about for yourself a way to generate some revenue for your own organization by asking people to subscribe specifically to you guys.
Yeah, this is interesting. We haven't explored that part, but we might by looking at this project.
Cool. I'll drop a link to it for you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Because autopilot is actually also it's just a fund manager which copy trading other people's trades, right? So interesting. And any other questions? I think Mark has a question in the chat. Do fund managers trade from a smart contract wallet, or do they claim USDC to their EOA and then trade?
They trade from our smart contracts, so we have integrated Uniswap for them to trade on.
So more integrations will be in the future, but right now is you actually trade on the platform itself. So interact smart contract on the platform. Any other questions?
Yeah, I know this, but I think maybe it's interesting to know for everyone else. How does like the claiming work? How does the fund close and stuff like that?
So essentially, when the fund managers start a fund, they will have to define the streaming period where the people can subscribe to it, and a fund close time when the fund will close at that time. So let's say a fund manager wants to start a fund for 6 months, and people can only subscribe to it within the first 1 month, after which they won't be able to. And after 6 months, the people who have subscribed to it can claim the tokens back if there are any profits or losses, whatever the period is basically.
Does
So
the
if
fund
there
manager
are,
get
if there are any profits, the fund manager gets the percentage of the profits that the fund was started with.
And I remember last time we also discussed how to, kind of bootstrap this platform, how to attract users or even fund managers. We're thinking about doing kind of like a poly market for fund managers. So essentially, we're going to check on which blockchain data, which actually very famous people, for example, Jesse Black is doing for the past week or past 1 month, how his wallet or portfolio is going on, and then users can bet which actually influencer is doing better. And I would like to know also what judges have maybe as ideas or feedbacks about bootstrapping and go-to-market strategies here. Difficult question. Or probably this product has lots of similarities to the products in the market already. But I mean, any suggestions are welcome later. Later, if you have any suggestions or feedback or for the teams to have some more iterations later, are welcome. Yeah. All right. Well, now that's all the projects today, and congratulations to everyone for the progress you have made so far. And thanks for joining all the judges for your time, for your valuable inputs. And I believe for the next demo day, we'll have most of the projects have like a front end and back end all linked together. So you will see the demo more smoothly as a complete product. So but already like kudos for all the progress we made so far. It's just a couple of weeks, so you can imagine. And afterwards, for the judges, if you want to give teams continuous advices, you can reach out to the teams directly, or you can reach out to me, and then I can make an intro so that we can help them grow together. All right, thanks a lot for the judges. Thanks everybody for joining, and happy day for you. Have a nice day or have a nice evening here. See you next time.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Bye.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.